Dr. Mac here in Indonesia. This is one of the coral farms that I'm visiting where I'm hand-picking some corals. I wanted to let you see what one of these places looks like. So the tanks they have are these concrete tanks. They're rather large. In this particular location, that's the fish section back there with the tanks. There's somewhat of a smaller fish section. They have some fairly basic fish. There's some Banggai cardinals, some dotty backs, a few butterflies in here. Let's see, most of these baskets are empty. There's some clownfish, which I really don't buy any wild clownfish, but anyway, they have quite a few. Some nice looking ones, but with all the tank raised ones, I really don't do any of the wild anymore. There's some powder blue tangs. This gives you a little bit of an idea of what these places are like. It's fairly basic, kind of crude by, the standards that we would have for some of our tanks back home. But it does the job. Most of the animals are not really here at this location very long. This particular company has a coral farm near Bali, so they bring fish and corals from their farm there here to Jakarta, where things are exported. They have some fairly large skimmers and some other basic filtration, but there's no lighting. This is just natural sunlight through this plastic shading. And these tanks are filled with corals. You can get an idea, there's quite a few corals here. Everything from basic leathers to fancy chalices and blastomuses and a little bit of everything. Of course, coming here, I'm fairly selective about the types of corals and the quality of them. Otherwise, there'd be no reason to come. So this is what it looks like. You can see these are fairly large tanks. Lots of corals to look at. The temperature today is 89 degrees. I think when I left home it was somewhere in the high 30s. So it's quite a temperature shock. This company also sells freshwater fish. So they bring their freshwater fish from another farm at another location. And then they bring them in here. So it looks like we've got some African cichlids here. Quite a few different African cichlids. A pretty extensive freshwater selection. You can see the tropical vegetation in the background. You can tell we're definitely in Indonesia. There's some more freshwater tanks, a whole section in there with all freshwater. And then they do have a small section here where they'll put the corals after I've selected them in sort of their packing and resting area. So these will rest for about 4 or 5 days, and then they'll be packed up and shipped to me. So let me show you that section real quickly. So when you first come here, you're sort of in a little bit of a culture shock and climate shock, and your body hasn't adjusted to the time difference because it's 11 hours difference here from where I'm located. So these are all the corals that I've selected. These are some of the guys that work here, and they're actually looking at the different pieces that I've selected, sorting them and counting them and invoicing and that type of thing. These are some euphyllias, frog spawns, torches, hammers, chalices, a little bit of everything. And this is their packing area. So they do have some chillers and skimmers on these. This one they turned off so we could actually see in the tank. Quite a few leather corals. Finger leathers, toadstool leathers. So that's what it looks like. So if you were to come to Indonesia, this is what you'd find at most of the places. Some of them are a little bit fancier than others. This is their packing area with the oxygen and all the bags. So I'll get back at you again with some photos of some of the corals that I picked. Talk to you soon.